Well, thank you all. Thank you all, Peter. Thank you. And thank you so much, Angela. And thanks to everybody for being here. Sorry I'm late. But I really want to just say, peace has to have a constituency. It's almost like a law of political science. No matter how meritorious an idea is, if there's no constituency driving the idea, it ain't gonna happen. And no matter how stupid an idea is, if it has a lot of finance and resource and people behind it, it's gonna happen. So if we want to see a safer, better world, if we want to prioritize diplomacy over warfare, if we want to see working Americans actually get ahead rather than just grind in place, if we believe that the tremendous wealth and power of our nation should be a force for good in the world, right? Then we got to be a constituency for that. And I don't mean just well-meaning people who come together and discuss it. I mean a financing, voting, lobbying, block constituency for these issues. And I just want to say that we cannot do it with 36% turnout as we had in the last election. 72-year low in voter turnout. The people who want the opposite of what Peter and Angela have been talking about, and what I believe in, people want the other thing, who never saw a war that they didn't want to get us into, right?
Right.
Well, World War II, they didn't want that one.
Well,
Fighting Hitler back.
Right. But every other one, But by the way, as a father of a 20-year-old specialist in the United States Army, active duty. My boy is in the Army now. He's not an officer. He's enlisted. And he is a flight medic. He flies into places where people get shot up and tries to make sure they get back home alive. That's what his job is. I mean, the reality is that we've got to build out a constituency for him and for every other young soldier who people in suits and wear buttons like this would send into harm's way. I mean, the soldiers protect us, but we've got to protect the soldiers.
Yeah.
They don't get to decide whether they're going to go into a military conflict. We literally send them there. And they do the best they can with whatever bad situation we put them in. So we need to build this constituency. We cannot do it with the kind of voting that we've seen so far. The people who love the war, or seem to, who deprioritize diplomacy, people who think diplomacy is some wild-eyed, imaginary idealism, when in truth, it's actually a lot cheaper, right? And we don't have to, diplomacy is cheaper, right, Peter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more moral.
What's that?
More moral.
It's more moral, more cheaper, all these things. It's the better way to go. The fact is, we have got to cultivate a voting bloc that would do this. We have got to reach out and do this, and we've got to understand that that in the short period of time, when Citizens United is sort of like the law of the land and sort of prevailing, it's still true. It's still true that it is free to cast a vote. Now, look, I know that it may cost money to get an ID to get you to vote, and I know that there's impediments, no question. But it's still, they still don't charge you when you get your sheet and fill in those ovals wherever you do. And we who believe in peace have got to get very pragmatic, and we have got to focus on a turnout strategy which puts peace at the forefront of the political agenda. As Martin Luther King famously said, war is the enemy of the poor. And every time somebody is told that they can't have Meals on Wheels because we just cannot afford it, or there's not enough spots in Head Start, or we just can't fund medical research for your mom to get her Parkinson's looked after, right? But it is these wars that we're neck deep in that often are to blame. Now, we always got enough money for the war. We don't have enough money to take care of the basic needs of the people in this country. Now, I know that's a very liberal cliche to say, but the truth of the matter is, it's a fact, and we have got to act like we want to cultivate this constituency that I've been talking about. And I'm telling you that right now, me and my fellow members of the Progressive Caucus are working on a campaign, and it's called Voters First, as opposed to the money first. And Voters First means we prioritize turnout. Now look, I love the DCCC, the DNC, the DSEC, and all them D whatevers. They're my folks and they're all right. But the truth is, if only 3 people turn out, as long as 2 of them vote for us, we really don't care about turnout. I'm telling the DCCC, when my leadership comes to me and talks to me, they don't ask me how many voters did you turn out, how much money did you give to the state party, how many people new 18-year-olds did you activate. They ask me, how much are you gonna give? And what are they gonna do with the money? They're gonna go run an ad running down the character of my opponent or somebody's. What if we said, instead of just trying to win the election, 50% plus 1, no matter how small that 50% gets, what if we actually try to expand turnout and extend democracy to every person on the basis of peace and diplomacy first? What if we tried to prioritize field as opposed to TV so we could build relationships with people? I hope I'm not holding y'all up. Am I? Is this okay?
Yeah.
What if we prioritize field? What if we prioritize field and said, look, candidate, you got to go door to door and look to people and talk to them about the issues that matter to them. And I guarantee you that making sure we build another F-35 or so is not the top of their priority list. And of course they want security, but they understand that economic security is security too. Paid sick is security, right? Livable wage is security. Going to the doctor is security. And then the third thing we got to do is we got to collaborate, starting with community, starting with individual citizens. But then we've got to collaborate between the feds, state officials, city. Here's an interesting observation. Not one member of Congress, not one of them, can write the districts that they run in. That's done at the state level. Now, one member of Congress can determine the qualifications of the voters who they will ask to either vote for them or who will vote against them. The state determines whether we're going to have a photo ID law or not, whether we're going to let felons vote or not, whether we're going to just let Saturday voting and Sunday voting occur or not, whether we're going to have voting by mail or not. That's a state matter. So the constituency that I started out talking about, that we absolutely need to cultivate, this peace constituency, we in this room need to think about how we're going to put voters first, and those voters, I guarantee you, are peace voters. You know, so I'm very honored to receive this award. I'm incredibly honored. I remember one of the first things that we ever did when I became a member of the United States Congress in 2007 is we honored the life of Bob Drinan. It was, I think, within a month of me getting to Congress in 2007 that this man went to his reward. I remember, just like it was yesterday, that Barney Frank stood on the House floor and talked movingly about this man he admired so much. And I remember reading about this man going in 1970, 71, going all in, trying to get us out of that Vietnam War, all in, nothing left, leaving it all on the table, and then didn't stop there. Can you imagine a Catholic priest standing up for a woman's right to choose? He did. Now that's guts, man.
Yep.
And we got a lot of intellectuals around here, but how many courageous people do we have? He was one of them. And I'm telling you, I'm all for being smart, but around here we need some heart too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so this is who Bob Drinan was. This is the legacy, and we can never repay him. Even if he was alive today, we could not repay him, but we can honor him by remembering him, and by trying to recognize that we as a community honor people who walk the path that he's trying to walk. I'm deeply humbled by that. I'm deeply humbled by that, and I will not let you down after giving me this award. As a matter of fact, you put me under a lot of pressure. You know what I mean? I don't want you guys saying, well, why did he give him the Bob Drinan Award? You know what I mean? The thing is, you got to live up to it, right? And so really, these awards, things like this, they're really not for the recipient. What they're really doing is saying, we as a community believe in this set of values embodied by this person.
Yes.
And from year to year, different people will try to approximate that example, and some will rise and some will rise higher than others. But the truth is, we always keep the values embodied by Bob Drinan up high. And so we want people to strive for these values, and this is what we're about. This is what we believe in. But we got to take what we believe in on the road, people,
Yeah.
and we have got to extend it into every highway and every byway. We've got to get it on every campus. We got to get it in Ferguson. We got to get it in Baltimore. We've got to get it all over this country. We've got to get it to the people who really need it, and we all know who they are. So I've talked longer than I meant to. I just really want to say sorry for indulging me with this long-winded oration here, but I just really feel moved by your generosity and your recognition. So with that, thank you very much, and God bless you all.